Radio International, the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on to another program. It is Thursday, the 23rd of February, 2017. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being tuned in, however you may be. I wish you good reception conditions. Welcome to this latest edition of VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. 7490 kilohertz to North America, again, Thursday. On Fridays, I have the pleasure of announcing a new transmission. VORW may now be heard at 6:30 a.m. Eastern every Friday. That's 11:30 a.m. GMT. And local time, that's 22:30 to 23:30 local time. The frequency is 3210, and that is to New South Wales, Australia. That's from a station called Unique Radio. It's a low-power AM shortwave station, and it serves the area of New South Wales and Australia. And I don't know if it's going to be this Friday or the next when the first program airs, but nonetheless, that's the schedule. And you may also have the chance to potentially hear this broadcast on 5150 kilohertz every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during the daytime hours, targeting New York City and the tri-state area. Now, that's not my transmitter, and I can't control when the station relays this program. It simply comes down to whenever the operator of the 5150 kilohertz transmission decides to relay this program. And that might be a few times. You might not hear it at all, but it comes down to what he wants to do, and I respect that. It's up to him to relay the station, and whatever he does, I respect. Thank you again for listening. I hope you are doing well, and I hope your week has been a good one. And I hope it's been a fine one. My last week has been a pretty good one. It has. It's been an enjoyable week, at least. Ladies and gentlemen. Well, that first song was a request from Jane. That was Thank You by VORW. And that second tune was a request from Braxton. Braxton was listening to the radio program in Texas. He said there is a good signal, and he wanted to request the song Found Out About You by Gin Blossoms. And it was recorded in 1992, released in 1993, and that was off their album New Miserable Experience. And that was some good rock from the 90s, officially defined as alternative rock. And a great song. I hadn't heard that one in a while, and I enjoyed it a lot, so thank you for that request. If you are listening to this program, and you want to let me know that you're listening, and I highly encourage that you do, because as I say in every single program, there is no sort of rating system on shortwave radio. The only way I know that you're tuned in is if you let me know, so please send me a quick little email or a long one. It doesn't matter to me. I'll get to it nonetheless. Send me an email at vorwinfo@gmail.com or vorwinfo@gmail.com. And write just to let me know you're listening. Again, the address is vorwinfo@gmail.com. A few listeners out there that, of course, I want to shout out. Ben was listening. He actually sent a message. He said that the Turtle and I are enjoying tonight's broadcast on WBCQ. And he actually sent a short video, and there indeed, there was his pet turtle listening to the radio broadcast on WBCQ. Derek, listening in Atlanta, Georgia, he reported some interference on 7490 kilohertz for the last transmission, and there was, but that has since been cleared up, so reception ought to be clearer tonight. Caleb, listening in Nashville on WBCQ, said lots of great music. Well, thank you, Caleb. Thank you for tuning in. And George in New Orleans, Louisiana, he said he actually loved hearing the Still Alive song at the beginning of last week's program, that he's a huge Portal fan. And he asked me, he said, on a side note, I recently got into juggling, and he said, have you ever juggled before? It's great fun. Well, to answer your question, George, I've never really gotten into it. I mean, I think at one point or another. All of us have tried to, throw something up in the air and just try it for the heck of it, out of curiosity. I know I did a few times, and it never worked out well. It always ended up falling right back down. I never had the talent to do that. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the hobby at least. On VORW, you can hear a great range of music from all genres and all time periods, as a matter of fact, and these next two songs will prove that point. Our first is a request from Tessa in Virginia. She said that she was actually inspired by my radio programs to find her old emergency shortwave radio, to get the VORW sound, and said that unfortunately the WLCQ reception wasn't that good the time she tried to tune in, but she's going to try next week. And she would also like to go ahead and request the classic country/bluegrass tune by Flash and Scruggs. It's Roll in My Sweet Baby's Arms. So thank you, Tessa. Here is your tune.
I roll in my sweet baby's arms.
Of the Report of the Week. Two vastly different songs in a row right there. The first is from 1959, Roll in My Sweet Baby's Arms by Flash and Scruggs. That was some classic country from Tessa in Virginia. Thank you for that request. And that second tune from 1749. This was completed so over 200 years earlier, almost 210 years earlier. That was a request from Oliver. It was a segment of Bach's Mass in B minor. That was the segment known as Cum Sancto Spiritu. And Oliver writes that this contrapuntal work, while in religious context, reminds of the complexity of human creativity and all its beauty. Well, I agree, Oliver. No matter the context of the piece, I find it a beautiful one, and so many of those great classical pieces from the era are just excellent. So thank you for your request. Ryan said that he's listening online in Indiana, and he's actually looking to buy a shortwave radio to enjoy the program directly on air. So thank you, Ryan. And if you do get your radio, I wish you good reception. We got some reports from Indiana that signals are good in the last few weeks, so hope you'll be able to hear it okay. Miranda writes in stating that due to last week's schedule change, but it's glad that was only for 1 week. She said it was an excellent show, and she said it's so cool to hear about listeners all over the world. Well, thank you, Miranda. And speaking of listeners all over the world, Vladimir in Kansk, Russia, was listening on 60-70 kilohertz as well and submitted a reception report. And Andre was listening in the Netherlands to 5150 kilohertz, submitted a recording of the broadcast to prove that he listened, and he sent some rather interesting pictures along with his reception report. Our next request comes from Heather. Heather's a long-time listener, and she just got a shortwave radio to be able to listen to the broadcast direct. She said that she heard an interesting